Hi, folks. Back in Finland. Home again, home again. And I'm going to tell you about the trip to America. I left Porty, and in Porty, they checked my bag through all the way to America, to Dallas Fort Worth, DFW Airport. Gave me my boarding pass to get on in Porty on the little hopper plane, and also my boarding passes to get on Finnair to DFW on American Airlines to Jacksonville, Florida. Sounds simple, doesn't it? Well, let me tell you how it went. Flight to Porty was okay, no problem, or from Porty was okay, no problems. Got into Helsinki. Now, for anybody that doesn't know this, Helsinki has two ends. One end is where the small planes come in. The other end is where the big planes come in. When I got off the small plane, proceeded to the departure board to check on my flight. It gave me my flight information and also supplied me with the information that it would now take me 45 minutes to walk to the other gate. Now, I doubt anybody's noticed, but I'm old. That's a long walk. Well, luckily I had about an hour and a half layover in Porty. Somewhere around that. Could have been 2, I don't remember. So I proceeded to walk. And window shopped a little as I went. Passed through duty free. Bought myself some what I will call excessively strong mints for the flight. Continued walking, walked some more, walked a while longer, kept on walking. About an hour from the time I arrived in Porty, sorry, I keep saying that wrong. I arrived at the other end of the airport in Helsinki with about maybe 10 to 15 minutes to spare before boarding started. No problem there. Wouldn't even need to get there any earlier. Couldn't have got on. Boarded the Finnair flight. Nice planes. A350 Airbus, wide body. 3 seats on each side, 3 seats in the middle. I was on the outside of the plane, aisle side. Ended up, I had 3 seats all to myself, so that was a fairly comfortable flight. Great people at Finnair. I love the flight attendants at Finnair. They're courteous, they're always smiling. There to help you any way you need. Serve 2 meals in flight. And then I got to DFW, Dallas Fort Worth Airport. Now in Dallas Fort Worth, I had a 3.5 hour layover. So I thinks to myself, well, self, this is plenty of time to change your phone over to a U.S. carrier SIM card. Maybe relax with a cup of coffee. Have a little afternoon snack before you board your American Airlines flight. Wrong. Upon leaving the very comfortable and accommodating Finnair flight, we were aimed toward a room. in this room was passport control. Also in this room were 2 windows open for passport control out of 30. 1 through 30. That's how many windows they had. 2 were open. Also in this room was, at my estimate, approximately 300 to 400 people in the little cattle corrals they have, you know, back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Get more people in a room. And I don't know what happened. Maybe eventually upon seeing the crowds and realizing that, you know, if we keep these people here more than 3 hours, people are going to miss their connecting flights. They opened a couple of more. And I waited, and I stood, and I walked, and I waited. Then I walked a little, and I waited some more. Probably close to 3 hours to get through passport control. We'll say the fellow at passport control was nice, courteous, smiling. At least there was that much. Now, excuse me, I gotta have a drink. And no, it is clear liquid in a cola bottle, and it is not vodka. Also was informed that incoming international flights must retrieve their checked baggage from the baggage carousel and proceed through customs with said baggage for baggage inspection. Now, somewhere in my tiny little mind, I thought, well, this is where we're going to open the bags and see what's in it. No, it wasn't. I got my very heavy bag off of the carousel, proceeded through a small area in which one man was working with a dog, very nice dog. Didn't like the man that much, but dog was nice. And I was told to walk through without stopping while the dog walked behind me, across behind me. And that was customs. So then I proceeded into another small area where I hefted my very large and very heavy bag back onto another belt to go on the American Airlines flight to Jacksonville. Now, mind you, in this room with 300 or 400 people, and in this airport, after leaving Finland, it was now about 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And in this room with all these people, it was hot also. So I was perspiring a bit and still not through with the journey through DFW. I then had to proceed to find my flight. Well, here's something you need to know. If you fly from Finland to America and have a connecting flight, they will not tell you where that connecting flight is leaving from. So I managed to find out that American Airlines, for the most part, leaves from Terminal D. Now, I don't know what terminal I was at by then, because I had walked about 50 miles and been turned around 200 times, and I was lost, and that's the best way to say it. Went into the main terminal area with very little time to spare. Found directions to Terminal D and proceeded to go upstairs to get the train to go to Terminal D. Now, upon arriving at Terminal D on said train, it came to my attention that in Terminal D, There is gate 1 through 20 that way, and there is gate 21 through 40 that way. And someone in their infinite wisdom in designing this said, well, no, let's don't put a departure board where you get off the train to Terminal D to tell people where to go for their departing flight. Well, I was somewhat lost. I thought on the matter a bit, and I saw a gentleman there who looked like he might know. So I asked this gentleman. He scanned my boarding pass, told me exactly which way to go to get to the gate I needed to get to. So I proceeded to the gate. And all of this with you bearing in mind that I had 3 hours and 30 minutes layover in Dallas, Texas, DFW Airport. Upon arriving at said terminal, I had 9 minutes before the plane boarded. So here's a summary of this story. From the time I left Finnair flight until I arrived at my departing flight to Jacksonville, it took me 3 hours and 21 minutes. Needless to say, the phone did not get changed over. I did not get a cup of coffee, and I did not have a mid-afternoon snack. Flight was booked completely full to Jacksonville, but comfortable. Served some refreshments. It's only a few hours from Dallas-Fort Worth to Jacksonville. Upon arriving at Jacksonville International Airport, this is how it's built, Jacksonville International Airport, I kind of wondered if everybody had gone home and forgot to turn the lights out. This was 8:30 at night, 2030. I proceeded to find one lone person at the information desk, got the information I needed, called my hotel, got a shuttle. That was going to Jacksonville from Finland. Now, when I left Jacksonville, upon entering the terminal area, I had to go through TSA checkpoint. That was easy enough. They like people with passports. They just scan your passport. You're in. And then going through security there, I had 2 laptops, 2 cell phones, various and sundry cords, plugs, and adapters. So, also, my carry-on suitcase with medicines I take in it, and quite a bit of candy I was bringing back. So, I guess candies and things trigger something in their mind or in the x-ray. But as I was approaching the metal detector, they said, no, you're going that way, over there, through the x-ray. So boy, did I give them a show. I stood politely with my little hands above my head and showed them enough carbon fiber in my back to build a small sailboat. Rod screws, pins, hinges, you name it. They got their show. Called somebody over, look at this guy. Then I went to get my baggage, carry on, and they said, no, they need to inspect it. So after they talked a while and checked their cell phone and did other things necessary for me to get through there, they opened my bag, very briefly looked in it, zipped my bag, gave me my bag, and I was through. Now, this was to be the last time I passed through any security. The last time anyone asked for ID. until Finnair. I got on my flight, boarded my flight, arrived in DFW again on time. And again with this, American Airlines does not tell you where your Finnair flight's leaving from. So again, I found a gentleman who looked like he probably knew what was going on. He was one of the people who transports people who need help around the airport. So if you're going to go to an airport and you have a question, they're the folks to ask. He immediately directed me to the proper terminal. And after a short 15 minutes of walking, maybe, I arrived at this terminal. Much to my delight was the sign, Finnair. I then sat down in some very comfortable chairs, proceeded to listen to some music, and then it happened. I saw round the corner, coming into the gate, the most beautiful sight I've ever seen. It was a large aircraft with the evening sun shining off the beautiful skin of this aircraft. And then I saw on the aircraft, written in large letters, Finnair. At that time, I'm almost certain I heard angels sing. I was going home. I was going back to Finland. And I think, as far as travel, that had to have been the happiest moment of my trip, was when I saw that beautiful Finnair airplane come into that gate, arriving at that skywalk. Got on the Finnair plane. There were not very many people coming to Finland this time of year. I can't imagine why, but there were not. I was seated next to the window. Seat J, row 30, I think. 39, what do I know? That was then, this is now. And I waited until the plane was boarded and realized again I had 3 seats all to myself. It was a comfortable flight, very smooth, with the exception, as always, it seems, coming here the first time, going back, coming back. Over Iceland, they put speed bumps, and the plane hits them, couple, just a little bit, not much. Not like, come up out of your seat things, but I guess there's turbulence over Iceland all the time. Landed in Helsinki, great landing, smooth. Taxied in, unloaded, directed to passport control, where there were probably a whopping 25 people waiting. Upon seeing the large crowd, passport control opened 3 more windows. Wow. Figure those odds, how many people were waiting and how many windows were open. Helped through passport control by a very nice, very courteous young man, directed the baggage check, grabbed my bag, and from there, let's say it's history. If you've seen the video of Sophie welcoming her daddy home. It's coming up on a week, and I'm hoping by a week the jet lag will subside and my body will adjust again. We went out with Belinda's English group, and one question was asked: when you arrived back in Finland, did you feel like you were coming home? And the answer is a resounding yes. Finland is home. Finland is where I want to be. And with the exception of occasional visit back to see children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and who knows, someday maybe great-great-grandchildren, I will remain in Finland. That's all for now. If I ever get over the jet lag, I'll be back.